Hey everyone, welcome back to the cabin. As you can see, I've got this crooked pine that was out towards the driveway. I've got it down. I've got probably 5 good-sized trees left standing and a couple that are smaller that are going to have to come out, but nothing's going to waste up here. Even the tops are going to get burned for ashes for the soil, and then whatever is rotten is going to go in the bottom of my hugelkultur. I've got some logs that are going to be milled up for the new buildings. I've got some fence posts that are going to be added to the pile up there, and then of course I'm going to end up with some more campfire wood. So everything is going to be reused, repurposed, and re-engineered. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get the tractor down here and see if I can get these logs out of here. It turned out to be a really nice day. The only thing is when we get a really hard freeze, it stays pretty well moist till the sun is just about going over that ridge, which cuts off about an hour and a half of daylight as opposed to the rest of the valley. But it's nice to have also in the summertime because it makes it cooler in the evening. And then when storms come, if they're coming from that direction right there, they have to come across the top of that ridge before they would hit the house. So that's another nice thing. It's just the only thing in the winter hours it kind of cuts off daylight a little bit early. But anyway, we're going to get these logs out of here so that we can bring another tree down. Well, I don't know that if you can see them in here, but there's actually one here, one there, and one there. Cedars that I'm saving for the handrail. I think this one's going to end up being too big, but I've also got 3 down in the hollow that I cut that are probably about that big. So what I'm going to do is I will almost cut that in half. Kind of like I did it on the handrail of the steps coming up. I'll let the curved portion be up top and the flat portion of course be on bottom, and then I'll put spindles like I've done on the outdoor kitchen and the compost area right here. We'll make some homemade spindles and put those in there, but I think I'm going to do it out of cedar. So the spindles I'll probably use pine because I have a whole lot of that. I don't have a lot of the cedar smaller posts, but it's still going to look good when it's all ends up being burned and oiled up and everything. But that's what I'm saving these cedars for, because the other handrail turned out so nice I decided to go ahead and keep with it. So if I just make the handrail portion out of cedar, it will all match and it's still going to look good together. Thought I would mention before I walked away, I talked to you last week about that huge poplar that's growing into the roof of the sawmill. Once I get those other trees down, this gets graded out. Then what I will do is actually tie to that and pull it over in this direction, because there won't be anything for it to hit when it comes down. So that is my plans for that. Right directly in front of the tractor, if you can see, there's a poplar on the left side, and in the background back there, there's another one on the right hand side. Those have got to come out. There's one cedar here that I was going to take out, but I think I'm going to go ahead and leave it because clearing everything else out from around it should help it to grow a whole lot faster. But there's a couple more small ones in the background back there that I've got to take out. But primarily those 2 are the 2 biggest ones that are left, with the exception of the one by the sawmill. And I will pull it down actually before I start building. But I've just been waiting to get everything else cleared out because I want to pull it this way and I don't want it to hang up into anything. But I am just about through with my portion of getting that ready to get it all graded off and get it set for the new building sites. Well, I called Home Depot a while ago and the flooring is here ready to be picked up. So since I'm getting 50 boxes, I don't believe that the truck would be able to handle that, because I think they're about right at 40 pounds, maybe even close to 50 pounds. Well, maybe not that much, but a good 40 anyway per box. And since I'm getting 50, it'd be too much for the truck So this trailer right here is rated for 7,500. So I'm going to go ahead and hook the tractor up to this, get it turned around, backed up there where I can get it hooked up to the truck, because I'll take off in the morning and go pick that up. But you know, it's kind of exciting to be able to get that flooring. And of course, I've been fighting dust, you know, for quite some time, but just the look of having the flooring down is going to be really nice, and it's going to help keep a whole lot of the dust down too. So I'm excited about getting that and being able to actually be able to clean it, you know, when it does get dirty, and just have a really nice floor inside the cabin. So I'm excited for tomorrow to be able to go pick that up. You know, guys, I was reading some of the comments here, and a lot of them are talking about these tools, but you know, a lot of people say that their parents or grandparents over the years have had tools like this. A lot of people are still using tools like this. They just like the feel of them in their hand, or you know, they would much rather pick up a tool like this as opposed to one that's battery operated and use it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times that this stuff comes in just as handy as anything that's battery operated. And you know, sometimes it's hard to beat old school stuff. But anyway, all these tools are still functional, they're still good, so that's the reason that they're hanging here. But I like reading, you know, when I talk about something or show something like that, you know, that other people have the same interest. And let's see, it says the antiques you show, the tools I still use here today. I brought them to Alaska with me from when we sold our ranch in Dakota. Then another one talking about his grandfather was a boat and canoe builder, so he ended up with his tools. Over the years, he's picked up old saws and hand planes and still uses them today. Let's see. I like the old tools. When my wife and I started dating around 82, his father-in-law had a blacksmith shop. It was still standing, lots of tools that were in there, but it has since fallen to the ground and has been sold. And he hated that he didn't get any of those tools. Yeah, I would have hated it too. Anyway, but yeah, you know, it's also nice to have old stuff like this, you know, because you got conversation pieces. Somebody might come in, oh, I remember my dad had this, or, you know, start up a conversation. But it's also good to have them in working order too, because there's a lot of times when you actually need them, you know, especially with stuff that I've been doing around here. I can remember, you know, there was a couple of houses that when I was working construction that we wouldn't have used anything like that. But when you're out in the woods, like we are here, these kinds of tools, there are things that you're going to do where you're going to need something like this because of just the way that the difference in the way that you build out here as opposed to somewhere else. But anyway, yeah, it's nice to have old school stuff like that. You know, I've also had quite a few comments since I actually put it on the porch, but that church pew right there, I kind of like it because it does give several people a place to sit. It doesn't take up a whole lot of room. It doesn't take up as much room as these rocking chairs actually. But I am going to, or actually have material which the curtains are actually being made for the cabin. So I will probably get something very similar to that. That cushion is going to come off and it's going to be redone. It's going to be redone with kind of like a camo pattern. But not anything that's real loud. But I think that I'm going to go ahead and leave the pew here for the time being because it does save me from having to put multiple chairs up here. I'm not really interested in a porch swing. I don't even hardly use the rockers much at all. I'll sit on something stationary before I sit on something that actually, you know, reclines or moves or whatever. But yeah, I think I'm going to do that, and I'll reserve, you know, the swing for some of the trees out there. I actually have a hammock, but I don't want a hammock on the porch or anything like that. We'll stick it up somewhere up in the woods. But yeah, this is kind of a little bit messy right now because I've been trimming out the inside of the cabin, but I'll get all that stuff moved, get it cleaned up. The next big thing is going to be that flooring, because I can't do kitchen cabinets or I can't do any plumbing or anything like that until I get that flooring down, because if I did cut holes in the subfloor, I just have to transfer that to the new floor, cut a hole in it. So we're just going to go ahead and put the floor down, then we're going to drill all of our holes for plumbing. But, you know, another thing I wanted to mention too is every once in a while we'll have an extra video that's going to come out, just like some of the people that has sent us some of the stuff that has been very, very important to us, just like those power stations in my off-grid situation right here. That's how I'm able to edit the videos and send them out to you guys so that you can watch them. That's how I actually operate my lights and recharge my cell phone and pretty much everything that I'm doing up here. So every once in a while, like I say, there will be an extra video that will come out. Some of these big ticket items that are high dollar, the company wants a standalone video instead of one that's integrated. So like I said, every once in a while you'll see a video that'll come out that will be a standalone video talking about a product, you know, that we were sponsored with. And I'll tell you what, those EcoFlow machines are very, very, very nice machines, and I have no issues with them every time I go to plug them up. That one now has had several charges on it, but it goes to 100 every time, and it you know, all, what was it, 3 devices now that I have from them. Well, actually have 4. One is a backup battery for one of the systems, but 3 different systems. That EcoFlow line is a really good line of products. So you guys can look forward to something like that, especially, you know, if, and you may not have a need for something like that, but if we find something good that works for us out here, that we would actually recommend, then it's going to end up on the video. But so far we've been pretty lucky with the stuff that has been given to us, and then in return, you know, one good deed deserves another. So that's the reason that we mention them to you guys, because if there's something, like I said, that we're using that you could use but just don't know about, we'll let you know about it. And if there's something out there that is bad, and we get a hold of it, we're going to be sure and let you know about that too. So I've had questions whether I was going to do a complete walkthrough of the cabin. I probably will when it's done. It's hard to walk through because I would have to do that every time I went in there and did something. So if you've been following along since the beginning, you probably pretty much know what everything looks like anyway. I just keep adding to that. You know, if you're new here, might I suggest go back and take a look at, in the playlist, I actually have, you know, everything about the cabin is actually on its own playlist. And then if you wanted to watch the outdoor kitchen, that's on its own playlist, the compost toilet, and so forth. So, you know, if you haven't seen the complete cabin build, go back and check out some of those, and you'll see the things that I did from the very beginning. But yeah, we'll do a complete walkthrough when the cabin is, when I got the flooring in, you know, and kitchen cabinets and things like that, because then I'll feel like, you know, I can show that off to people, kind of like an open house. Had some other people wanting to know, you know, did the walls going to continue up and go to the ceiling? No, because it's a little bit too late for that right now. So my intention is to use the roof line as a ceiling, because I felt like wasting material to build a ceiling underneath the roof. So I just built it up, which was 8 feet, and, you know, left everything open. That way the ceiling fans, they're going to be up there. Air will be able to rotate from one end of the house to the other. And and it also gives, you know, you can be able to look up over the other rooms and see all of the woodwork and everything like that. And, you know, nobody's going to be climbing up over 8 foot to look inside because there's no doors, you know. Pretty much it's me. Of course, I've been thinking about making a half door, you know, kind of like a Dutch door. Just making one, putting it at the bottom just to keep the dogs out. But with just me up here, you know, I didn't really see any reason to hang a door on the... I was going to put one on the bedroom, but I thought, well, you know, what's the point? When I shut the front door right here, that's basically shutting the door. So, uh, and then the other, I decided to turn that into an entertainment room, but I'll put a hide-a-bed in there, I think, just in case anyone ever comes up and wanted to, you know, bunk down up here, then they would be able to have, you know, something that they could actually lay down in a separate room. But anyway, yeah, no, the wood that I actually use, that wildwood for the trim, it kind of took out the idea of me making a sliding barn door, because it would have to stick out so far to be able to pass that, because it comes, you know, away from the wall. And then some of the furniture that I've got sitting on the inside, I would have to move it out away from the wall. So I thought, you know, what's the point in it? But I could make a small half door and put it on down there, just to be able, because I end up using that thing to, like, kind of like that fire screen that's got the bears on it. I set that in front of my door so that the dogs don't want to come in and lay underneath my bed. So anyway, but we'll just have to wait and see what I end up doing. I may go ahead and put a full door there, one that actually swings instead of sliding. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll let that be a surprise. But those are some of the comments that we've had here recently that I wanted to answer. Guys, we certainly do appreciate, you know, your comments that you send to us, because it does give us food for thought. We like all comments, you know, whether they're positive or negative, because it gives us ideas on what you're thinking, you know. But we're not always going to agree with each other. But that's kind of like, you know, I had a teacher one time, he says, "Did you read your lesson?" I said, "No, I didn't like it." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I started off telling him. He said, "Well, you know, just because one page you didn't like doesn't mean that the rest of the book wasn't worth reading." So I kind of have held to that philosophy for a long time. Just because I might not agree with one thing about a particular subject doesn't make the whole subject, you know, not worth learning or checking out or being entertained by or whatever. So every once in a while, you know, we're going to show something up here. We're going to do something that people may not agree with, like the way I was building something. Some guy said that I wasn't doing my footers deep enough, that I wasn't even going past the frost line. Well, you know, the frost line here is only 6 inches. So we are far enough south where we don't get a lot of bad weather, and my footers are 12 inches below that. So the footers that are on underneath every major post that in this timber frame structure is got at least this much concrete and a 2-foot square. So it's not going to go anywhere. But you know, it's just different building than what, you know, the norm would be. And a lot of people, you know, they're set in one way, and you know, even they may dig a 2-foot footer here, even knowing that the frost line was only 6 inches, because you know that's what they're used to doing. So you know, you got different ways of doing things, and like I said, everybody's not always going to agree, but nonetheless we accomplish our mission. Okay, and we are almost complete with the cabin, thank goodness, because we've got some new buildings to build. Well, I've got the trailer loaded up and I'm ready to go pull out of here first thing in the morning to go pick up that flooring. I've got some straps in the back here. That way I don't have to worry about the weight. It's probably about a 60-mile round trip, so it's not far at all to go and get that. So I'll get that first thing in the morning, and then there's still some other things that I've got to do about prepping the cabin, getting ready to put this flooring down, but that'll be our next major project. So there'll be a few videos, because I've got to move everything in that cabin twice. I'll have to move it to put the flooring down, and then I'll have to move, well, actually 3 times. Then I'll have to move it over on the side that I get done. Then I will have to move it back. So, but good thing is I don't have that much in the cabin. But anyway, if you've heard me say around this time of the year, happy holidays, that's because we do wish you the happiest of holidays during this season, where you had Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's together. So that's what I mean when I say happy holidays. We still got two upcoming, which is Christmas and New Year's. Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Year's. And we just hope that next year is gangbusters for everybody. We certainly had a couple of years where kind of wear you down, drag you out, or drag you out and wear you down. So, things are getting better. So we always want to look for the best and everything. I also learned one time, through every adversity, there's a seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. You just have to look for it. So regardless of what we've been through in the past, there is a benefit to that if you look at it or look for it. So always be looking for the bright side, because that's where people get a second chance, or that's where they find something that they didn't realize was there, and it made a big difference. So just remember, through every adversity, there's a seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. Anyway, my son, my daughter, and I, like I said, we want to wish you guys Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Everyone, be sure to take care. If you're traveling during the holidays, be sure and be safe. Anyway, we hope that you have a great afternoon. Guys, take care. We look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.